Hi everyone. So I did some field work the other day, and this is the part that I've drawn up already. And I have this part down here in the bottom right left to do, and I thought that I would just film that. So you might be looking at this part down in the bottom right and be thinking, what the hell? There's really not much drawn here. What did you do in the field? Well, what I want to do in the field is just put on my map what I can't interpret from the base map. So obviously there was work to do up here because I had my view in the satellite image obstructed by all these trees. There was this new football pitch, AstroTurf, which doesn't appear on the satellite image, and a few other things. But really what I'm just focusing on is putting on the map what I can't interpret when I get back home. So I've drawn a few things here. You can see there's the line, the edge of this canopy. And I think the key here was just where I marked that. So I've marked it in line with this kind of slightly darker line on the satellite image, which was a gutter. So that just tells me where the edge of the canopy is. Obviously, it's not fully clear from the satellite image because we get buildings at angles. Things with height, they kind of show up at angles, and it's quite hard to tell where exactly the edge of the building is. So that's what I did in the field. I just marked where the edge of the building was. On this side, top side, I have another line down here, just marking that. And I can interpret the rest back here at home, specifically the angles. So the angle of this line is obviously going to want to be in parallel with this line. This side of the building is going to want to be parallel with the edge of the road. So let me just check the angles on those two lines. So we have a 34.4, and over here I'm getting 34.2. So not exactly the same, but more or less the same. I'm going to use the edge of the road as my truth here, and we'll begin drawing this up. So let's just mark the edges of the building. So I'm going to use that angle. I can see in my field work I've drawn the building out to here. I'm making a note that it ends here. And the same down here. And well, I've gone too far, but I'll bring that back in. Okay. So obviously this corner of the building, it's not clear where the building ends in the satellite image. It's more clear over here. And I have this note from my field work. Let's bring that back into where we've actually marked the building edge in our field work. And there we go. Okay. So we have our building there. I can actually just fix this. And now we'll just turn that into a real building. Get rid of some of our fieldwork notes. And now let's work on the canopy. So I want a rectangle. I'm going to pick up my angle from the building. And let's just bring that all the way down, rough, and we can come back and correct. And we want to bring it out to where we have our line from the fieldwork, which was up here in line with this gutter. Obviously, the angle from the fieldwork is wrong because it's hard to be very exact on the tablet. But I didn't need to be exact because I knew I could come home and draw this up with these angles picked up from other parts of the map. That looks good. And the other edge also looks pretty good. We can bring it slightly down. And there's that drawn. Okay, now let's do the same up on this building. So again, I have a few things for my field work, but it needs to be corrected. So again, let's just start drawing the edge of the building. I'm going to pick up the angle from the building where we just drew. And I'm going to do something like this. What I want to do now is just fire a line up here and just make sure that I'm in line with that. Okay. Clean up a bit of my field work, so get rid of this line. And now we're going to want to join these ones. Get rid of this line from the field work. Okay. And the same over here. Let's just fire a line from the existing building. And I'm going to bring this over. Okay, now let's work on the canopy. So I'm going to pick up an outline. I have this gutter, and I'll draw that line. Get rid of my fieldwork line. And of course, this needs to come over to the building. Too far down, just bring it in. And then get rid of that area symbol and let's draw it properly. Now that we have the outside of the canopy properly defined with the right angles. There we go. Let's tidy up this paved area. Okay, so it's coming together. I want to make sure these trees here are on the right line. So we're making sure they're parallel to the building. Just snap them onto this line. Perfect. Now, this wall here is fine, but the angle might not be correct. I'm going to pick it up from our paved area here, which we can see very well. I've drawn this on the tablet, so again, it might not be perfect, and we just bring it up like this. Just want to move this over so it's in line. There we go. Now we'll get rid of the existing one. You can see the angle is slightly different. And maybe just pull this down. Okay. Let's color in a bit of the paved area. Obviously, you can use the bucket fill in certain circumstances, but here we'll just draw it in quickly. Okay. This is coming together. So I haven't drawn this building in yet because I have to finish the other side of it. And you can see here I've kind of drawn a stairs shape. So I want to tidy that up now on the computer. So there was this kind of line here where the stairs was ending. Okay, so now the key is that these lines are parallel. So I'm going to just draw one, the top one here, and just work everything else off of that. So I'm going to draw some parallel lines and get rid of this janky one from the fieldwork. And again, I think I can use this stair symbol just to get the spacing right. Okay. And again, throw another step out. So we can come all the way in. I'm going to bring the wall down just to where the steps end. Okay. Now we can actually color some more of this. Obviously, you can leave it to the end and start using the bucket fill, but I kind of just like to see the map coming together as I go, even if it's not the most efficient way to do it. So, okay, so again down here, there's a building. I've marked the side of it. And it's obviously going to be in line with our existing building. And I've probably just marked here to where the end is because it's not fully clear from the satellite image. And I could fire this over just as a reference for now because I know there's a gap here, which I didn't fully do the field work of. So I'll be coming back to this area. But I'll just leave that there for reference. Now let's tidy this up so you can see I kind of drew in some of the open land, scattered trees. But it needs to be tidied up. And there's two different things I drew here. I'm going to join them up. Okay. Two different contours need to be joined up. And here we have this kind of fence area. Three sides are bordered by a fence and two sides by a wall. So obviously this last section of the wall is going to be parallel to this. Like that. And now I can work off this side for the rest. Let's just see how it comes out. Okay, probably best to work it off the path then, which is straight. Now it's straight. Okay. Turn off the map just to get a view. Yeah, this can come out. Side can also come out. Okay, let's get rid of the field work, which didn't have the right angles. I'm going to flip this and tidy up over here. and over here. Bring this over. And there we go. Now, we're going to cut this corner just to get the ticks where we want them, or the tags. And there we go. Two symbols here to join. They're not joining because this wasn't the right paved area symbol. There. And I can be real nitpicky and just make sure that this is parallel to the building. Okay, so we have this little building down here. And I've just drawn it in the fieldwork sloppily, so it needs to be tidied up now. So let's try and mark this line. I can see the wall, the edges of the wall, and that's going to be the line that I'm choosing. It's also in parallel with the fence we just drew above to the northwest. So let's work off of this. So we're going to want to draw a rectangle. We pick up our angle from that line and we'll draw it in. It's similar, but not the same. Get rid of the fieldwork version, and now the wall's the same. Just draw them at the right angle. Okay, now let's try and get this building in. I didn't really do the field work here because this is just a car park that won't be able to be used in an event. So I'm not too concerned about the edges of this building. And I think I'll be able to interpret it from the satellite and from Street View. So I come over here, I see this lighter area. And there's this kind of sandiness, and then there's this pavement. So I can see here the pavement and the sandiness, the slight color difference, which of course gives me the angle or the line here where the building will run along. Here I'll get the angle. Pick that up, and then our building edge is coming down here. I'm not quite sure where it ends yet, so I'll just draw it like this. I have the building edge over here for my field work. And we can join these two up. Now, this side of the building over here, this long side. Just trying to figure out where that comes in. So how many sides are there? Well, there's this side, there's a little indent, and then another side and the long side. So we're coming along here, a little indent, coming along here, and then the long side. So you can see the angle on the building here. I can see the windows on this side of the building. And this white line here is for sure this wall. So I can see that it ends here. If I pick up probably a right angle over here, so I'll pick up the direction there and let's see where that leaves us. something like this. Let's compare that to over here. A little bit different. I prefer that one. Okay, and let's join these up. Looking good. So this here looks like a right angle. Because the building slanted this way, I can kind of tell where the extremities are. If it was the other way, as we saw earlier on this side, it's harder to tell. You need to go and take notes. And then we can see this angle here from the satellite. And we'll join these up. Right. Okay, and that gives us our full building. So I can swap the symbol now. There we go. Okay, so we'll leave it there. Just a simple example of going over some field work with the computer, drawing it up, picking up the right angles to make sure everything's aligned and looking clean, which turns out to be a lot of the work when you're drawing up sprint maps. So I hope you found that helpful, and I'll see you next time.